Alrighty.
What we got you, pal, sir?
Stand this side.
Which side? On your good side?
Yeah, my good side.
Okay. You steal one side only.
That's it.
Orange steel.
Orange steel. Rusted draad. Hard.
Scott Spark 920. These are 110mm machines.
Front and rear.
Front and rear.
That's impressive.
With that ergonomic lockout back and front from Scott specific, which is flippin' rad because you can actually use them. So you get to it with your thumb. So that's super easy. You've got climb, trail, descend. So that's descend, the softer setting. Trail, so it's
Mid.
a little bit firmer, and then of course the climbing one, and then it's easy to switch back and forth.
Okay. So is that the Scott specific, the nude tuning that they do there?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
volume calibrated so that you've got good feel all the way through the suspension travel. This being carbon front triangle and an alley rear. Nice tucked away, neat cabling.
So traditionally, obviously, marathon cross-country bikes were 80mm, 100mm travel. 110. What are the benefits going to be out of those extra 10 mils of travel?
Getting more and more advanced, more berms and jumps.
A lot more features, yeah.
So it's not only the travel but also the geometry. The geometry is optimized around 110 mils of travel. You've got a slightly steeper seat-post angle, so when you're sitting up, you're still in a good climbing position, but when you employ that dropper post, the bike feels a little more nimble, it's more versatile on the trail, feels great in the corners, it surfs around the track faster, a little bit more control. I think it's a safer ride. It's also something to consider. And there's minimal weight penalty. I mean, the 34mm fork gives you much more stiffness over the little bit more noodly 32mm stanchions.
Nice. This bike also comes with all your OEM fitted componentry and accessories that Scott themselves do. That's Synchro, that's their brand. A lot of the times they're partnering up with DT Swiss, as far as I can remember back in the day. Yeah, flippin' nice bike. Obviously 29er wheels. That's where the evolution has gone in these. Yeah,
they optimize around 29-inch wheels. They feel nimble. They don't feel black big farm gates. Just going back to that DT Swiss Syncross branded hub, that's got that
ratchet system.
Yeah, that ratchet ball system, which is super cool, easy to maintain, and a quick engagement that's very reliable,
very robust. Yeah, I've worked on some wheels that have seen more years than you, and yeah, they still bomb-proof.
And we've got on a components running gear perspective, SLX brakes, which are mineral operated, lots of power,
stay nice and cool,
great modulation, and then Eagle drivetrain. It's 1050 on this GX cassette,
so it's a 500% ratio.
Yep. And these, yeah, the chain never bounces off on these single ones. It's got a narrow wide front chain ring. Of course, we've tested it to make sure it runs well. So no skipping, great shifting.
You're going to sell the bike with a 7-day satisfaction warranty on componentry, if I understand correctly.
So we sell our bikes with a ready to ride guarantee. So it's as close to new as possible. It's been fully serviced. We've replaced bearings, bushings, chains where necessary, brake pads where necessary.
Tires even?
Yeah, tires get replaced. Some still got ears on the side.
These are typically all tubeless ready.
Tubeless ready. We tape the rims beforehand and leave a tube in there so that the tape is nice and firm and well stuck onto the rims, nice and reliable. And then just before the buyer or the new rider gets on it, convert over to tubeless. New sealant.
Tubeless valves.
Good fresh start.
Yeah.
Very reliable way to do it.
Yeah, I recommend in South African conditions, tubeless is the way to go. What a revolution! What a revolution!
I mean, weight. If you can save weight on the rotating mass, that's the place to save weight. You reduce that
helps
rolling
the bike
inertia.
Accelerate a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the heavier the wheel on the extremities, the more effort it's going to take to get the bike up to speed.
Yes, it's a factor of 2.
Factor of 2.
So if you take the weight and you try and accelerate it fast, then you square that weight. Strong, yeah. So weight saving on the wheels is where to go. So if you're looking for a higher end bike than this and you want to go a bit quicker, look at something with carbon rims. Although these are pretty light.
This bike has got a carbon front end and an aluminium rear end. I'm assuming that brings the price range of the bike down slightly if you're not going carbon on the rear.
Yes.
Or what? Yeah, I mean there's no other benefits to going a carbon rear seat stays and chain stays. Why did they do it aluminium? Just purely as a cost saving to bring the price point down?
I would think it's budgetary. You can go for the higher end. I think it's the RC900. That's carbon rear end. It's a bit more race, marathon, cross country orientated. The carbon rear end. Whether you feel that benefit or not, look, this is going to do Joburg to see, Sani to see, all the riding up here in the high Alps really well. And if you're in Cape Town, it's going to bomb all the Tukai trails really well. You drop the post down and you can shred trails. Look, it's not a 150mm
Trail bike.
enduro bike or trail bike, but it's
a good crossover.
Yes, it's definitely like between marathon and trail.
Nice.
Great all-day bike, nice and safe.
Your opinion on putting a dropper seat post, despite the weight increase on the bike, what is the benefit of having a dropper seat post on a XC marathon type bike?
Well, you'll be able to attest to this. Once you start riding with a dropper post, it's very difficult not to ride with a dropper post. So you
Just get
the
that
first
saddle
ride
right out the way.
Absolutely, and you use it once on your first ride and you use it 3 times on the second. By the 5th ride, you're using it 100 times in a ride. I don't know how you do without it.
I do enjoy a dropper seat post. Okay, I like the way they've tied in a little bit of the decal here. It's these small little nuances that definitely make a bike stand out. So you've got the red decal slightly tied into the frame and then going into the day glow sort of like yellow green.
Rossi yellow.
Look, these guys have got a pedigree of note. Current world champion Nino Schurter has definitely been a brand ambassador of note for the guys.
Bike Market sells our bikes with 3 things to guarantee that you're getting a good pre-owned bike. So you've got a ready-to-ride guarantee, makes the bikes as close to the workshop as possible. Yeah, gone through the workshop, checked it out, you replace stuff that needs to be replaced. If you've got frame worries, there's a 3-month frame warranty against cracks. So if something develops, bring it back and we'll look to replace it, or if we can't find something, we'll refund you in full. And then
it definitely gives you as a buyer peace of mind. When typically buying a bike off the internet as a private sale, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what surprises you're in for.
And there's no recourse.
Absolutely. Foot straight. That's it.
And then just to test out sizing and stuff, we run a cool returns policy, which is quite lenient. Try it. If it doesn't feel right, you can return it for a full refund or swap it for something in the store with that credit. If you're far away, the only penalty is you don't get the courier down to you cost covered, but we will recover the return cost.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay. And have you guys had any issues in the past like that where you've helped customers out?
Yeah.
Nice.
BMC 4-stroke, we had once had a bearing seat issue and we replaced the frame with the camber, or we replaced the whole bike.
I remember there was a silverback, the aluminium frame that broke, and the silverback actually came to the party.
Sometimes we get some, I think we paid for the frame from silverback and built it over. And then typically we don't buy crack bikes, so our initial inspection is really good and send bikes back if it's not, doesn't meet our mechanical standard.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's
good peace of mind. I like it.
That proof checking. No, the workshop's busy looking for cracks, replacing stuff, testing.
I actually saw Blessing strip a bike that come in, just inspecting the bearings, and yeah, so you're doing a full dual suspension linkage and bearing service. Yeah, those are small little things that, if you're not prepared for it, it's not nice to have that type of expense like within the first 3 months of you actually owning a bike.
Yeah, so you might get it a good deal, but then you got your bill in the workshop could run up to 10 grand quite quickly.
Absolutely.
With drivetrain. But if you are buying privately, things to look out for: check the bikes for cracks, check the forks for stanchion wear, the rear shock needs to seal, the rebound and dampening needs to work.
Check any play.
Yeah, look for play. If the brakes have a funny feel, look, they're quite difficult. Some of that stuff's quite difficult to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, little hairline cracks in the rims is often a thing. Nipples pulling through, that means a little wheel build, which is lots of labor cost in there. It takes a bit of time. So this is as close to new as you could get, barring a little nick and scratch. This one's got a small top tube nick, and nothing to write home about. Then there's a little bit of paint stuff. But look, you're going to ride this. So it's difficult to compare an older model for newer models, but if we go on a spec basis, the Scott 940, the Spark 940 is at about 65, and that's NX drive, and it's got a slightly lower spec fork, a Revelation. Similar machine.
So the lower the number, the higher the spec.
Scott changes it around all the time. We even struggle to keep up.
Thanks, Switzerland.
But on a spec level, you're looking at a new bike between probably 65 and 75 to compete with the spec on a new basis.
And the year model of this bike?
It's a good question. I think this is 2018.
Alex, thanks for your insight. Bike market, we do trade-ins. Get down to the store, come have a look at the bike, or view it online. Yeah, ready to ride. This is a nice machine. This is a large, so it's for the big boys. Get down to bike market today.
For tomorrow.